Hello, this is Charles Scoville, your Golden Harvest agronomist with your Agronomy in Action Focus Friday here on June the 2nd. What a great week to get out in the field and start digging plants. Travel a good part of the state here, and so we're going to do things a little different this week and just want to talk about some of the things that I saw. And the first, of course, being the fact that it continues to be extremely dry out there with no real appreciable rain in the forecast. So the good and the bad of the dry weather. For those crops that are currently germinated and emerging and already out of the soil, the good news is they're going to have to go for water. And so we're putting down a pretty good solid root system that's going to carry them throughout the rest of the season. I always remember the old agronomist saying that a dry year will scare you, but a wet year will kill you. And so we are a little scared right now, but the plants in most cases are really doing what we need, and that is just going deep and going for that moisture. In fact, when you dig out there, you'll find that within a couple inches, there is some pretty good soil moisture out there right now. And so that's what's keeping this crop going. But I've also had a lot of conversations about potential replant. And so let's talk one more time about this. We talked in depth last week, but we talk about corn. We've got to take some real interesting things in consideration. We are in June. So if I'm evaluating a stand and I've got, let's say, even 20,000 plants per acre out there somewhat evenly spaced, economically, it is absolutely better to leave that stand than try to go to the cost and the time and the effort of replanting that stand. The hardest thing I realize is that no matter what we do, we've already lost. And so our goal really at this point in time in looking at replant is how do we lose the least? And unfortunately, I was on a call this week where the farmer was bound and determined that they were going to replant that field. And so they had a stand of about 26,000 plants per acre, and they shifted over about 4 inches, and they planted another 14,000 plants per acre out in that field. And I feel bad for the situation because now what we have is 14,000 weeds we just put out there for the crop that's already standing. And we're going to have a lot of competition out there for the new stand. It's going to be hard pressed to put on a viable ear at the end of the year. So, it's just corn is different. We have to start clean if we're going to go in and replant. And again, probably need to have something less than 20,000 plants per acre to even consider that. On soybeans, we looked at some potential replant as well this week because of frost. Down on the muck, we had some cold temperatures. We lost some plants. Soybeans are a little different. We can go in there and thicken up that stand in those areas, especially the lowest lying areas where we have the greatest chance of losing plants. But again, we got to evaluate the stand. If I've got 80 to 90,000 plants per acre out there, it's hard pressed to go in that field and even thicken up that stand. Now on muck, we are looking at a little bit more challenge with weed control and wanting to have a good population out there, but we're also worried about white mold. So if I'm going in there and putting too many plants in there, again, I want to lose the least in the situation where we're considering replant. It's also been a great week to fly my drone. And so one of the fun things this time of the year is we have a stand count app that I can spend about 6 minutes flying that drone and get 26 to 30 different photos that each take a stand count in those areas. And it's been great to evaluate not only replant decisions, but also just evaluating how good our planters are doing out there and how good of a job we are of getting a uniform stand established. Finally, this week we had a good chance to go out and got one last corn plot planted rather, and I think this is getting close to wrapping up plot planting season. But I did want to say a huge thank you out there to all of the folks that helped out this year. We try to be there when we can to plant these plots, and we just only so many days in the week. And so a number of folks I know helped out putting their own plots in. And what a great way to, throughout the season, continue to learn about the attributes of our corn and soybean products out there. whether it's looking at emergent scores, whether it's looking at plant health and stay green, looking at ear size and development and flex, and then at the end of the year, not only getting yield data, but also just getting really good standability and late season plant health notes. So, again, a big thank you out there to all of our folks who helped and put in their own plots as well. And again, those would be the time spent now, which will be for great payback and dividend throughout the rest of the season and in preparation for what we're going to plant next year. So with that, again, a great week out there. Appreciate the folks that gave me the time to ride along and look forward to continuing doing that throughout the summer. If you have any questions, as always, give me a call. This is Charles Scoville, your Golden Harvest agronomist, with your Agronomy in Action Focus Friday.